All right, we are officially live here. We're going to be talking CALC Finance with James of CALC Finance. Also, got Baloney Bones here on this chat as well. So as people come in to this, we're gonna get kickstarted. But first, before that, to give people an opportunity to come in, we're going to run through just this piece of news because I'm sure everyone interested in Rujira Network and in the ecosystem is wondering what's going to happen with the THORChain restructuring. So I'm just curious your guys' thoughts on this. I saw this post from Boone, who retweeted THORChain Bull's proposal. So actually, THORChain Bulls said 80% of users get refunded in kind now, which I think is pretty big because it was going to be that all the debt was dollarized, and it was, it kind of capped the debt, but I think it might have hurt some people. I think that's pretty big. Validators, they're going to increase share to 20% in the first year, then reduce that to 10% of the revenue share. And then block rewards being abolished. So this should reduce sell pressure. And then I'm still not too clear on this part though. Lower validator revenue by 52%. Do you guys have any thoughts about the proposal?
I just want to say to any node operators out there, thank you for your sacrifice. You are helping us in the long run, that's for sure. Yeah, that's I mean, that goes to show is where everybody's there's a lot of always something to talk about. But the node operators, because a lot of they've got to be anonymous, and they're not everyone is as vocal as others, and I guess that it leads to some mystery about those node guys and perhaps ladies, and one thing that they get a bad rap sometimes, and I hope this puts to bed the perceived greed that these node operators have. These guys are taking a huge sack, so that is very noble of them. So thank you guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do hear that a lot just because I scroll on the Twitter all the time, and I'll even make posts, and then I get a lot of I've got the same people that just say negative things over and over and over again in the comments, which is totally fine. Love you guys too, I suppose. But they do mention that they call the node operators greedy and all this.
Yeah.
It's kind of
again, you can see it right here that's they're all unanimously doing this. So
yeah,
that's cool.
It's pretty cool. And I thought this was good too. I was thinking about this in terms of marketing that Boone mentions here, things he likes. Small creditors get made whole and kind right away. You know how sometimes the people that are the loudest, sometimes your customers are your smallest customers are the loudest.
I know
so
that
you probably don't want your small LPs to be very loud on Twitter hating THORChain for the rest of their entire existence.
I saw somebody post yesterday that just remember that a lot of the people you're trading against are submitting $5 transactions. So it's definitely the smaller the bag, the louder. I don't know if it's causative, but it's definitely correlative. And I've seen it. But yeah, so I mean that should help a lot of the noise to die down quickly.
Hopefully. I still am not sure who's gonna, and I know James, I asked him right before this. I don't think had a chance to look at this. Do you have any thoughts on what we're looking at or what's happening?
I would be remiss to really dive in with an opinion in this context, if I'm honest.
The only thing, I guess the only real concern I have left is someone has to lose, I guess. And I don't know who that is going to necessarily be because I haven't gone and looked into it. But somebody's going to lose, right?
The node guys.
Yeah, they're going to be.
And I would say the other losers, and only this is a temporal loss, is that the larger depositors.
Oh yeah, that's right, from this, right?
Oh, yeah,
probably the other 20%. And I bet you the big 20% are probably.
I would speculate that they're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is neither here nor there.
Yeah, and I just wonder if they might be directly working on or close to the protocol
Correct.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know. All speculation.
Let's make rumors.
Yeah, I know, right? let's not do that. So yeah, let's get it started. We got 23 people on here right now. If you're watching this, please do share it around. Hit the like button if you're on YouTube or on X so that we can get more exposure for CALC Finance, who's going to be building on Rujira here soon. So with us, really, James GadAlmighty. Go and give him a follow over on Twitter if you have not already. And also CALC Finance itself, CALC_finance. Go and give that a follow. Obviously, every dApp that builds on Rujira, I assume, is going to be a net positive for everything. What's up, Soda, by the way? Soda's in here. He says, hand wave twice. Nice to see you in here, man. And also, we will take questions. So if you guys have any questions about CALC Finance, drop them in the chat as we go through here. But James, thanks for coming on. I guess, starter question. What exactly is your role and what got you into crypto and building CALC Finance?
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me, by the way. So I started developing. I'm a software engineer, I guess, by craft, and I really only started to hear about or even interface with crypto in any kind of like monetary or technical way, sort of as the hype cycle of Luna took off. So kind of got wrapped up in that, and obviously the accompanying fallout, and then kind of got dragged kicking and screaming a little bit into crypto by the co-founder of CALC, Fabrizio. He's a really switched on product guy and just has been sort of been looking at crypto for years now and involved in it and just sort of very much future oriented. And I'm kind of just like his developer sidekick in a lot of ways. So we got a fund. We actually started with a grant from Kajira to build CALC on Kajira back in 2003 or maybe even late 2002. Man, the years they just combined.
2022.
2022, sorry, 2022, 2023. Yeah. There's not that many years. And so that kind of kicked us off. We built the very first version of CALC, went live on Kajira. We all sat in one of the guys' apartments in Melbourne and had a couple of bottles of champagne, and then all pretty much went straight to sleep because we'd been building Flatstick for about 3 months. And I guess we kind of went from there. We've since then iterated a couple of times on CALC. It's now sort of in version 3, and the version that goes to the THORChain app layer will be version 4. And with each sort of upgrade, it's gotten better and more reliable and more interesting as a protocol. So right now, I think it's in a pretty cool state, and we're really excited to sort of see its evolution into the cross-chain ecosystem. But I think like the more personal journey from the actual product is sort of got dragged into developing crypto. I was meant to just be doing some of the back end API like off-chain stuff. Ended up getting kind of addicted to building CosmWasm contracts. Rust is just like a super fun language, especially when you start to first learn it and use all of the IDE help that it gives you and all the compilation help that it gives you. It's really fun sort of like development experience. There's very few sort of languages where the first time you write something it works, and Rust kind of like is that. So that was really fun. We all actually ended up going and working out of a share house in Portugal together for about 3 months, building V2 of CALC, which was a whole bunch of fun. About 6 of us, and then a bunch of time in a really shitty little apartment with 1 bed in Berlin for 6 weeks. We've sort of like been all over the world and kind of tried to iterate and build CALC out in so many different ways. Another thing that we're currently building is Cacao Swap, which is a front-end swap aggregation. So that started on my chain, and then obviously like the THORChain integration was pretty straightforward because it's all basically just a friendly fork, right? So we're pretty familiar already with THORChain, how it works, particularly from the swap perspective. So I think like CALC and Cacao Swap sort of coming together is this really nice. I think we'll end up releasing CALC probably via Cacao Swap as the first sort of place you can access and build CALC strategies, purely because we have all of the cross-chain, multi-wallet, multi-chain infrastructure already built into Cacao Swap. So offering CALC strategies through that interface, I think that'll probably be the first place.
Dude, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Les.
Well, I was gonna say, so are you gonna be rebranding Cacao Swap? Because I noticed that you already have an interface for CALC. Obviously,
yeah.
It looks like you've got multiple chains already. I was kind of in here like clicking around. Osmosis, I would imagine, is like the big one because a lot of IBC is over there for the decks and everything like that.
Yeah, Osmosis probably does most of our volume at the moment for CALC, followed by Rujira and Neutron kind of sort of battling it out for second place. But I guess the technical side of this is that whole front end, right, is built for like a single chain. Like you can change the domain of the chain that you're in, but it doesn't know. We haven't built any. There's no EVM. There's no Bitcoin. There's no.
Okay.
So like there's multiple chains and chain types and wallet connections, and managing all of that is actually like probably the hardest thing about building things on THORChain. Like the actual swap interface isn't too hard, and I think like with Cosmosm coming to the app layer, the actual interface of using the contracts on THORChain isn't that complex. It's more just making sure you can support all these wallets on all of these chains, and you know exactly what you're doing, or the users like can trust that when they sign a transaction on this EVM chain that it's the correct chain, the correct wallet, and all this sort of thing. So we've already got that on the Cacao Swap side. So upgrading Cacao Swap to support CALC strategies is actually a lot technically easier or more feasible than.
Lush, can you come back to the Cacao Swap? So
yeah.
like where on the screen would you see?
So I think we're actually like days away from releasing a really cool UX update to this swap interface. And one of them will be one of the updates will like have a teaser, and I think just at the top, just below the top menu above the swap modal there, we'll have like it'll be a swap, and then it'll be like advanced strategies, or we're not quite.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, cool. So you'll be able to set up a swap, and even when you're creating a swap here, we show you a bunch of different quotes, and we'll probably show you one from like a CALC strategy, and that'll tell you, you might have to.
You might have to pick something.
You might have to put more, and I think even more or less, maybe more slippage.
10 million better.
Anyway, this UX is going to get a lot nicer, cool. and the integration of CALC will kind of be pretty seamless, I think. And
so that means that the users are going to be able to engage with this pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, well, the CALC strategies are just pending. We've just got a couple of sort of additional parts to add to our existing smart contracts. So we don't have to rebuild the smart contracts for the THORChain app layer. There's a few tweaks. And then we're currently working on the UX. We've got a few API changes that we want to make, and then an audit for our smart contracts to go to THORChain. But it shouldn't be too long. I think everything takes a little longer in tech than you sort of really want it to or expect it to. So we're saying like 1st of April is probably where we're thinking go live. Gives us a month of sort of dev and getting all the things sort of ducks aligned this month, and then a month of testing and ironing out things so that when it does go live, it's like super smooth and the support overhead isn't too high, because we don't have a huge team for managing all that.
Should we maybe back up? Like, what is CALC Finance's strategy, in case people have not gone and experimented with it? Like most.
What is it as a product?
Like, yeah, I mean, we've talked about CALC Finance just sort of in name, and then we brought it up on here. But what is the focus? What is like what is the benefit that it provides to crypto users just generally?
Yeah, cool. So I think like the best way to explain it is probably like through the versions. So the very first version of CALC was pretty much just a DCA protocol. So you could come chuck your money in a vault and tell it when to swap and what to swap and how much to swap. And after every swap, it would send you the result of that swap. And so you could just set up these strategies that kind of like operated in the background. And kind of one of our real like our like mottos was like, you know, get away from your screen and go and do stuff and let us handle, you know, the trades, because you don't want to be stuck in front of your screen. And so that was kind of like the core value proposition. And then we started to add a whole bunch of stuff. So like version 2 brought like you could do post swap stuff. So you could go and deposit into like a Mars vault, or you could do a bunch of like staking and this sort of thing once you swapped into a certain token. And then we added like version 3, added like a whole bunch of looping strategies. So now you can set up like grid bots and have this one be buying this asset when it's cheap, and then this one sells the asset back to the original strategy when it's gone up in price. Weighted scale in and out. So that's like the further the price gets away from a preset price, you can buy more or less depending on if it's going up or down. We added some machine learning algorithm that like takes in a bunch of data every day from like crypto markets as well as more general financial markets, and combines that all and gives us like an informed like swap adjustment coefficient. And that, you know, basically we only take performance fees on those strategies, and it seems to outperform regular DCA or just normal strategies pretty consistently. So that's a really good option. I'm not sure we'll bring that across to THORChain immediately, but we'll bring across the weighted scale. We've got another one. I'm not sure if you guys have talked to Pragmatic Monkey on here, or but he's kind of like managing a lot of the Rujira migration stuff. He's got a couple of really cool ideas. He's obviously pretty financially savvy and has been managing the Manta sort of portfolio and product for a while now. So we're working pretty closely with them. We're also going to be building on top of MantaSwap. So all the swaps will be routed through the MantaSwap contracts on the THORChain app layer. So it'll take the best price out of like the Rujira order book pools as well as the native pools that already exist on THORChain. I think it's going to be some kind of like combination of the two.
So I was going to, can I ask a question about that? So,
totally.
This was my question, and like I even wrote it down. That said, I'm a bit scared to ask it, but like in regards to your coefficient, how much math is involved? That's why I was just afraid of it. But like you said that I wouldn't call it an oracle, but the way that you're basically extrapolating the I guess the fairest value of any particular coin at any particular time. Are you saying that that's changing because of THORChain, or are you just like updating and upgrading it in the way that you're getting prices?
You're asking how do we get the price of a token?
So the monitoring of markets is what I was getting after. So like,
right.
I'm curious about how you did that. And you said that, did you say that you were going to change that?
Yeah. So I guess the context of that is in these very specific strategies that you can set up in CALC at the moment, and they're the DCA plus strategies. The thing behind that was basically that you've got a regular DCA strategy, and so you're just buying an asset at some predetermined amount and cadence over time. Maybe it's once a day, maybe it's 10 times a day, maybe it's every minute. Like all of these are sort of options with CALC. We have a friend who he's a totally brilliant guy. Like he's a medical doctor, and then he's just gone and done his like PhD in maths as well, and just like kind of doesn't really or do any of that stuff now. He's like an AI engineer, so he just like is across it all. And he was like, guys, what if we built this machine learning algorithm that went out and pulled a bunch of data every day from a bunch of these different like financial markets and volatility indexes and all these other things, combine that into an algorithm, and then we could back test, DCA strategies into the past, and then like just a regular one, and then back test one that was adjusted whether to buy or sell more according to whether or not this index or this coefficient that we calculated was like bullish or bearish. And like the back testing was pretty much the using the coefficient outperformed just the regular DCA, like something like 87% of the time, and sometimes like quite significantly. So that was kind of the motivation behind building that out. Once we'd done some back testing and we had some like confidence that was going to work, we just went straight ahead and built it out. So that's running all the time in the background at the moment. And kind of like I mentioned,
awesome.
yeah. We're super lucky to have that guy as a friend. He wasn't really sort of a real core part of the CALC team until he came in and did that and just like absolutely smashed it, and then just went on his merry way. And so that's kind of his contribution. It's fantastic. It's awesome.
How does that then, you said machine learning, and automatically my brain went, with all these AI bots and, it sounds like trading bots. So with DCA, it basically, it sounds like the machine learning said, we think that this dip is worth buying, so we're going to allocate more here on this DCA. And then maybe as price goes up, it says we're going to kind of slow down on the green candles. And then on average, that would do better than some emotional trader that most likely buys the top and then watches the red candle.
Right? Maybe, yeah. I think like the theory, right, is that DCA outperforms emotional traders because it's not doing the like panic buys and sells at the worst time. Right. So I think like if you adhere to the notion that DCA is a better way to trade than like in the moment, which I mean, in some cases that's true, in some cases it's not, right? There's a lot of traders who outperform DCA, but they do have to be there doing it at the time. So like there's a few other upsides to DCA, but then we were like, okay, cool. If your thesis, right, is that DCA is better than myself or than me, then we can help you improve that, even more through some sort of machine learning. But yeah, really interesting. Obviously, like we did all this 2 years ago, so it was before this whole AI kind of like total craziness. And so it was just old school machine learning, linear regression, out like nothing, none of this LLM based stuff, which is just sort of taken over. So I think the new thesis that we have around AI is that we want to build tools that expose APIs and it's just really ergonomic for AI run systems to interact with. So we're talking with a couple of outfits at the moment that are building out these AI automation systems, and we're just making sure that CALC as a product is really easy to use for those systems so that they can set up strategies, cancel strategies, assess strategies performance really quickly and easily. And that way, when you just give the AI a very high level instruction like make me money, one of the tools that it is more likely to use is CALC rather than some other tool that might offer something similar. And I think CALC, and especially in this THORChain app layer context, offers something that like you can't really get anywhere else in a decentralized way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, are you going to be offering this product to pretty much like every interface? Because like everybody would want this, dude.
Totally. Yeah. So CALC, so we are going to go live with CALC strategies and CALC, but CALC itself is a totally separate entity, and that's the entity that basically builds the smart contracts that live on the THORChain app layer, as well as like we're going to build an API that makes it really easy to get the quotes for CALC strategies, to build the transactions, to create the strategies, as well as deposit into them, this sort of thing, so that it's a lot easier for anyone who wants to offer CALC strategies anywhere to set that up really quickly.
Oh, I think I see then. Yeah, so this interface, Cacao Swap, now if for anyone else that's dense like me, so then Cacao Swap is going to offer the CALC strategies. This isn't becoming a new CALC Swap.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So you can kind of think of Cacao Swap as, Cacao Swap is basically an affiliate
Yes.
front end, right? And now it's offering one more product, which will be CALC.
What about with because I know we're talking about sort of AI and strategies based on algorithms and things like that. What about, because I know Rujira and Voltisig are going to be working very, very tightly. What about building a plugin, or is that even somewhat related? Or
Yeah. We've already been talking with like Pragmatic Monkey and a few of the other guys at Rujira about where CALC strategies can sit within that kind of core Rujira product offering, because I think having it super accessible there would be fantastic. And we kind of already did this with the Kajira team back in the day from Fin. There was like a little C next to all the Fin peers that we offered CALC strategies across, and you could just directly like go straight from a Fin peer to CALC for those denoms. But I think one thing we kind of want to move away from a little bit is this whole like CALC is a DCA strategy platform. And we want to move more towards like CALC is a way to move assets in really safe and smart ways. And so like it's effectively swaps, but super powered swaps, right? And so it's like even better than streaming swaps on a THORChain, right? In the way that like you just want to take your Bitcoin and you do want to turn it into USDC. And with a streaming swap, you can do that, and you can set up some slippage and stuff. But once it starts, you can't stop it. You can't add any smarts around like taking advantage of price movements or anything. You can't. So basically, CALC is like streaming swaps, but with all of the handles that you wish you could have with streaming swaps, like stopping them, starting them, re-editing them, adding more to them, doing whatever you want with them.
Another thing that like you're walking right into my next thing was like you have on the like how it works is the reinvesting and the looping strategies. So like, dude, you can set it up. You can pretty much like design the way you want to be trading and buying and selling for the next 4 to 6 months, and you don't have to look at your computer again. It's great. And like, and this transfers not only to one asset, you can set up as many assets as you want. Or at least maybe there's a limit, but like, that's awesome that where you're like, I want to trade THORChain and then I want to buy some Pepe with it or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah, that's wild, man. The automation of it. So that another thing about that is like, are you guys powered by Auto Rujira, or are you like, are you solo? Because I know there's a lot of overlap with what the projects work on, but
yeah, we haven't actually discussed being automated by Auto Rujira. I assume there actually might be some innovations there that we could probably take advantage of. We haven't just dived into it. There's so many other technical things we're currently building. So, I mean, I think like I'll take a note actually to reach out to them, because if we can move a bunch of the automation that we kind of run a hybrid system. So all of the smart contracts look after all the assets and all the logic, but we still do run some off-chain infrastructure that's just basically pinging the smart contracts to say, hey, any swaps that you need to make them now. Because the smart contracts kind of are almost just like, they're not alive, right? Like they're just sitting there waiting for someone to prod them and do something. So we still run that infrastructure off-chain, and we look after all the gas costs of running those transactions and stuff for you when you set up a CALC strategy. So there's like, it's not a whole lot off-chain stuff, but there is a little bit there. So it would be really, really cool if we could totally take it on-chain and just like burn our off-chain infrastructure. So yeah, hey, look, maybe if that works out, Baloney, I'll ping you and let you know.
Well, I was going to say, like, I was curious about, like, you obviously use your own product, right? It's a great product. So, like, how do you engage with it? Like, do you have a particular method?
I mostly use it just to pay salaries and stuff. So we'll often move out of volatile tokens into stables over time. So we quite often like just do a bunch of treasury management for CALC. And that's probably the most useful way that we use it. Yeah, sometimes I'll set up like a couple of looping strategies and just sit them there. If I think there's going to be a bunch of volatility in the markets, and yeah, like you come back a month later and you deposited, so, I don't know, $5,000 into some strategy, depending on how much your money's sit on chain, and it's turned into like 7 or 8 or whatever it is, and it's totally just done that on its own. So there's I haven't done that for a little while, to be honest. Man, the markets have been kind of chaotic, but
is there
most
protection against like, the
management.
downside? Like that I could put $5,000 in and then in 3 months come back and it's worth like $3,000?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you put in like a volatile token,
Okay.
right, and you're saying I only want to sell it when it goes, when it's 20% above its current price, and it just drops by 20%, you're still down. Totally.
Would have been cooler if you said no.
I don't be a downer. I don't want to be a buzzkill. You know what I mean? I just
totally
you know.
no, yeah. It's not magic money or anything like that. So, yeah.
Another thing that on your docs page, it also said like the ideal amount of time was 4 to 6 months. So why?
That's actually in relation to the machine learning algorithm powered DCA plus strategies. So the reason that it takes 4 to 6 months is for DCA plus strategies, they only swap once a day. You can only swap them of a cadence of once a day. And the reason that is so that it's got a chance to readjust the coefficient. It does that once a day. So basically we update that coefficient once a day. And so for the effect of the improvements of that coefficient to really like show up in a reliable way, you need that coefficient to have been applied to the swaps over a certain number of swaps, because it'll be wrong. Like sometimes it'll buy less when it should have bought more. But on average, it's better. So the longer the strategy, the more likely the outcome is positive. Yeah.
Sweet. So I was wondering, you know how Jupiter has their DCA in their, I've experimented with that before over on Solana, and you could kind of set like your parameters, like this many swaps, like do one every hour or one every 30 minutes or something like that. Is this going to be maybe calc the DCA sort of strategies? Can the other interfaces take this and then build it into like the order book or whatever other products are out there?
Yeah, totally. So we very nearly, and we still might basically offer that in like the osmosis swap front end. So basically you can set up a swap and then there's just a little toggle, like turn it into a DCA swap or a streaming swap. Like we really like the terminology streaming swap. And so, because it does it takes you away from that sort of DCA is a trading strategy to just DCA is just a swapping strategy that saves me on slippage and like exposes me to some good price action, right? Because one of the coolest things that streaming swaps, because we do offer streaming swaps as a service through CALC at the moment, and like one of the cool ways to use it is to set up a streaming swap and set the like price floor or the price ceiling like just beyond the current price of the asset, and that way you'll never get a worse price than what the current price is, for example, or set the price threshold to whatever price you're happy with. But if during the swap the price improves in your favor, you end up getting a whole lot more back than you otherwise would have had you just set up an instant swap. So I use streaming swaps all the time, more for my personal stuff, because I know like the downside is almost nil, but because that streaming swap's going to take a day or however long I tell it to, the upside potential is totally there. And I can make a streaming swap only last for 30 minutes if I've really got to have that capital or that asset soon, or I can set it up to run for a month and just realize the upside on the price over that period. And if the price tanks, then I know that I'm not going to be swapping at those worst prices. It sort of protects me from that downside.
Sweet. Cool.
But yeah, I think the original question, I kind of went off on a little tangent, was about like front end integration stuff.
Yeah.
100% that's the play. Like CALC as an entity doesn't actually want to continue to maintain front ends. It just wants to maintain that back end and smart contract infrastructure, really like double down on making all of that really usable for developers and really feature rich for users. And then like incentivizing through affiliate fees, other front ends to offer CALC strategies through there.
You're not going to have a problem with that. There's a lot. I mean, I'm gonna pump your product. So so you said early in the chat on the stream, you were talking about like there's a lot of, so in the docs I was looking at, there were three tools, I guess you would call them. Is there one? You said that there were other ones in the pipeline. Is there one that you're particularly excited about, or like, can I get excited about it?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what we called it, because like I was saying, Pragmatic Monkey suggested this to us, and I can't believe we hadn't thought of it beforehand. But it's like a really cool one where it's just a moving price average. So basically, I think the theory is you can set it up so that you say like, compared to the previous swap, if the price has moved, 20% or more below or whatever, then change the swap amount. I think, hold on, I'll try and find, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, but I'll just see if I can
that sounds kind of similar to the idea that if the price was to run, then you might buy. It's just playing the market, kind of, right?
Totally. Like, it's just a more dynamic strategy in the sense that it's taking into account what the previous swap or the current price is compared to the previous swap's price, and sort of, instead of just being like, because right now you can set up a weighted scale strategy with CALC.
Right. That's what it sounded like.
You give us a base price, and if the current price is below that price, then we'll buy more, and if it's above that price, we'll sell or we'll buy less. And so it kind of adjusts the strategy. But whereas this new one is that it's that instead of having a static base price, it's a moving average. And so now you're sort of still playing the buy more or sell or buy less sort of game, but in a slightly more dynamic way.
Dynamic, that's the word. I'm pretty sure like PM in a conversation might have brought this up to me, and that you guys were doing this. Yeah, it's the math is beyond me. But
my favorite,
go ahead.
My favorite indicator is the RSI. Like, I know we're talking about moving averages. I don't know. Is it possible in the future that you could kind of set like, like sometimes I'll only buy something if the RSI is below 40 or something like this. Is that even possible to build into this, or no?
Totally. Like anything that like, I think like anything you can get on chain, we can build a strategy around. And I think like with the Rujira Oracle and all this stuff, like there's just so much fantastic price data now on chain available from smart contracts, so that like the strategies we can build and extend this is kind of like almost unlimited. Like we've got like peer trading, we've done a bunch of like peer trading static analysis of strategies that we want to bring into like CALC somehow. We're not quite sure where it lives just yet, because it is like, I mean, peer trading is basically just like setting up the right, there's just so many like handles that you can set up. And so it's just giving users the right ones to be able to tweak, and giving them in sort of bands that mean that they don't just like totally set up insane strategies.
Yeah,
and so
you're
we
like
just need to like
right now. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I would like the Ichimoku cloud, please.
What's that?
It's like the most I don't know. It looks crazy. It's something on TradingView. But
yeah, right. Honestly, like if we get good enough at adding these strategies, like the infrastructure is all there. So adding a new strategy is actually really easy on chain. We have built it so that you can just like create a new strategy and plug it into the existing infrastructure that's kind of powering it all. So like we don't have to build a whole new contract for a new strategy or anything. It's just the logic of the strategy that needs to be added in.
Got Les shaking his head.
I know, this is cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about tokens and revenue? And
Totally.
so I know Cacao is a front end, and there's a token Yum.
Yep.
And because I'm kind of wondering, this part is being built on Rujira. So I guess this question is mostly about, I know that users are going to benefit, front ends are going to benefit, right, from being affiliates and sharing this awesome product on their front ends. But how about, like, where does the revenue go? And does this benefit Rune holders, Ruji holders, the Yum token? Is there going to be a CALC token? Sort of like on that side of things.
Yeah, cool. So I think we'll keep it pretty simple. So the plan to begin with is to do just like a rev split between CALC and CacaoSwap. So CALC is totally privately held entity, and there's no token for CALC. So that revenue has basically, we've taken all the revenue that CALC's ever made to maintain CALC as well as build out CacaoSwap. So CacaoSwap's been basically built for free from the perspective of like Yum holders. And so this is kind of the payback for CALC in a way, in that it gets to use CacaoSwap as a like delivery mechanism or distribution place for the CALC strategies. But the upside is that 50% of the revenues from all the CALC strategies are going to go back to Yum stakers. Basically, all that revenue goes back to buying Yum, and then that Yum gets distributed to stakers. So that's all on Arbitrum blockchain, and you can get that Yum and stake it all through CacaoSwap. So that's kind of
and it doesn't even matter if it comes through CacaoSwap, does it? Like if you had CALC on a different interface,
yes,
and
totally.
that interface is like, that still benefits you guys and the Yum token, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So the fee split will be for the base fee that CALC takes. 50% of that will go to CALC and 50% of that will go to CacaoSwap Yum holders.
Cool.
But then there'll be the option to add affiliate fees for third-party front ends, and they can take that. So we'll
right,
be paying that out.
Totally have a leaderboard. Sorry, like for basically like custom designed. You could get crazy with some of these, like with multiple different, basically putting Legos together of all of these different tools. And if I don't know however long a week or a month goes by, and whoever has the best returns for their GCA, I don't know, like that, to me, that seems, and it would be tough to, I guess, like it would be about whatever the coin that they're buying is, but I just think it'd be neat to see other people's different styles of approach to CALC. And I would want to try them out.
Yeah. So currently we don't show anyone else's strategies in CALC. So I think but I think there's a cool play there to like, one, it would really be a cool thing to just go and see what people are doing. Also, like help inspire a bunch of trust and like belief in the protocol if you can see what everyone else is doing, because we can, as devs, like I can like jump on and write a script and see all the CALC strategies that are running, and there's like 700 at a time, and it's like, oh man, this is like popping off, but you just jump in CALC and you've got your 1 to 2 strategies running. It's like, I don't know what's going on. So I think there's a bunch of UX, like you're saying, or UI sort of features that we can add that would like make it feel like CALC is a place that's more active, because everything's so single user. Like it's not like you're putting your money into a fund that 1,000 other people are putting their money into, or it's not like you're participating in like in a liquidation market where you can see so much activity going on. You go to CALC and you just see the strategies that you've set up.
Yeah.
So I think you've nailed it there as far as like it'd be a really cool sort of flavor of the product to have it be more social and more sort of like collective.
I would do it. I would make the most complicated thing and probably, have a really bad return rate, but
you'll spend a year building it. Yeah, we've done that.
That sounds fun, man. All my questions are asked.
Yeah, I was gonna say that covered everything I had. Do you have any timelines? I think you said April 1st for Cacao Swap for it to land in Cacao Swap, right?
That's our working date at the moment. Yep.
Okay. Is there any other things that people can look forward to outside of that?
I think, well, yeah, like I say, we've got a whole bunch of releases coming for Cacao Swap. Obviously, like not Calc, but it is very much THORChain centric. So keep an eye out for that. You can follow us on Twitter as well for Cacao Swap. And yeah, I think that's probably most of our technical updates. And yeah, we'll probably be posting a few. I think back in the day we posted a few like videos, sort of hype videos for Cacao Swap that kind of took off. So we'll be getting the same team involved for the Calc launch and some more Cacao Swap stuff. So even if you just follow us for some crack up videos, get around it.
Yeah, sweet. Cool. You got anything, Baloney?
No, man. I don't know if there's anything in the chat, or I'm good. Like I'm super excited. I'm like a Lego master builder. I'm ready to start.
I can be excited.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. I actually do not see any questions in the chat. So with this, I mean, we're at 46 minutes, close-ish to an hour anyways. Yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Go give CALC Finance, Cacao Swap, and GadAlmighty a follow over on Twitter for sure. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Lush, and thanks, Baloney. Man, that was heaps of fun.
Yeah, man. That was good.